Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. The Flyers answered the bell. Look, they fell apart in Calgary where they just had a dud. They got blown out 4-0, and they had no legs underneath of them. You take the 2 out of 3 when you hit the Western Canada trip, but I was worried about, not really worried, but I was studying how they were going to respond. What would their effort look like after that hiccup? Because it's inevitable through an 82-game season, there would be games where you just don't have it. It's not your night. You can't find any sort of rhythm, right? It's just unfortunate that that happens, but what type of team are you when that does occur? Will you find 2 points the next game or the next handful of games? Will you be able to snag some points? Because, look, you have a Coyote squad who just came to Philadelphia. They were 0-8-1 before puck drop tonight. On top of that, you're facing a Penguins team in a couple of nights on the road, and they are vulnerable right now. So, okay, I'm all right with heading out, grabbing 4 out of 6 points, and having somewhat of an uncomfortable-looking loss, as long as it doesn't really have a domino effect where you lose 3, 4, 5, 6 games in this brutal effort. Even though tonight was not perfect by any means, when they needed to, they shut the door. Carter Hart shut out in a 3-0 win. I thought he made some really solid poise saves throughout, whether there was a rebound to his right, bang, right there, or whether it was going right into his breadbasket, bang, no rebound whatsoever. Sharp, calm, and that's exactly what you need to keep in mind. We had a bunch of question marks about who Carter Hart was after last year, and I tried stressing to everyone who was freaking out to this absurd level that relax. Trust me, as a stay-at-home defenseman in my prime, when things get ugly in front of the netminder, it has a major role on how he is, and now you're seeing, and look, this isn't even the most structured decor in the entire world. It's significantly better. Let me be clear here. Significantly better than what we had last season, by far, night and day. But it's not as if it's just 6 defensemen of greatness. Ristolainen, Travis Sanheim, they do make mistakes. Keith Yandel, he does make mistakes, even though he has this unbelievable record of the Iron Man, and, you know, he's a solid guy to have as a role defenseman on that third pairing, and also a power play specialist, too. Works out with special teams. Clearly different than last season. It's not like unbelievable stealthy, just filled with lethal weapons from 1 through 6. And I don't want to knock them either, though, because players like Justin Braun gets on the score sheet once again, collects an apple. He started off the game as we go through our notes here. He was literally my first note after, by the way, the traffic brutal to get to the Wells Fargo Center tonight. Shayne Gostisbehere returning to Philadelphia. Sean Couturier logging in his 700th. There was a lot of emotions happening here. I'm sure they were worried about me. Damn, Brodes is going to be late? Nope, I got there about 6:57. I got in that damn building, but it was an emotional ride. I'm sure those players were thinking about me as they were in the locker room retying their skates and taping their twigs. You know? Why wouldn't they? But anyway, getting to my point, Justin Braun continues his excellent start to the season, getting back in transition to stop a potential breakaway. He was so strong in that moment that the Coyotes did not even get a shot on net, which is just ridiculous thinking about you see so much ice in front of you. You have you have the puck on your stick, and you're flying towards Carter Hart. Even with that angle, you would think, hey, I'm at least getting a shot on net. No, Justin Braun stick on puck and does a good job utilizing his body. And I even write in here, he's done more than just hold his own as a top 4 defenseman. It's been legit production, which I did not see coming. And here's to not jinxing him for the rest of the night, of course. I had to throw that in there. But look, through the first 1 3/4 periods, if that even makes sense, this was way too wide open of a game for my liking, right? The Flyers had chances, whether it was Oscar Lindblom, who seemed to have a billion, just couldn't bury. 2-on-1 with Scott Lawton, wide open net, hits the skate blade. Oh, man, there was so much. And keep in mind, this Arizona team is not good. You would imagine if you can get a goal early on, it could really be a gut punch. It could be so brutal because when it rains, it pours. And when things get super ugly, it's very difficult for you you to crawl yourself out of those scenarios when you're accustomed to losing, when the losing culture is what the locker room is, and that's exactly what's happening in Arizona. AV could say whatever he wants after the game, and, I've seen Arizona play hard even in losses, but at the end of the day, they're not good. All right, AV after the game tried to say, I've been in the NHL for a long time. You don't just blow out the bad teams. And I get it. It's not the NBA. There is more parity involved. But 0-8-1 through your first 9. And it was what? Is it now 0-9-1? Yeah, so it was 0-8-1 prior to this outing. They're not very good. It shouldn't have been as wide open as it was. But I bring up that third line, of JVR, Oscar Lindblom, Scott Laughton. Earlier in this season, no matter what the analytical world would tell you, when I was watching them play, something was missing. As of late, they've been running with some juice. They found an identity. They'll cash in, trust me. And Scott Laughton did late when they caught the Coyotes trying to get an extra attacker there, yanking the netminder. You kind of caught them in this awkward spot of halfway to the bench, and you respond with Scott Laughton, plenty of time and space just to rip it. That was to take a 2-0 lead late in the third, so they did eventually get on the scoring sheet there. But they had so many chances. Oscar Lindblom, there was a play where Ristolainen is at the blue line, and he passes it to Lindblom, who's wide open in front of the net. He touches it to Scott Laughton backdoor and missed a golden spot there. That line was buzzing. I hated how wide open it was. For every solid chance that I really loved out of the Flyers, there was something happening the other way, whether it was Phil Kessel. I saw Travis Sanheim get manhandled by Phil Kessel, who just took the puck right from him in the Coyotes' offensive zone, in the Flyers' defensive zone. That's tragic. That couldn't have happened. I did watch him as well, though. I don't want to just bash Sanheim because that is a common theme around here this year, and I did witness him jump up in the play, and Cam Atkinson is in the neutral zone, finds Travis Sanheim entering the zone, joining the rush. Good time to do that, add that extra layer, ripped it on. I believe he missed the net, but it was a nice rush to join for sure. It was a good chance to take, and it was just a little bit of like, hey, Justin Braun throws a puck on net, or Justin Braun does an excellent job of pinching along the wall, which kept the shift going. Oscar Lindblom, Scott Laughton, JVR cycling the puck down low, really winning their board battles. It looked like there should have been a power play given to the Flyers in that moment as Oscar Lindblom got rocked in the face. No call. Needed that. I thought the fourth line generated a lot of buzz, too. That fourth line, aube-kubel in the lineup tonight, Nate Thompson, McEwen, who consistently continues to kind of find his name throughout. He got the puck in the high slot, ripped one on net. That line was out there generating. Nicholas Aube-Kubel, he had a 3-on-1, and I didn't love the fact that he just shot it into the glove. But, and I'll point this out right here. This was during the second period, right? So this was during the second period where, so McEwen ended up doing some little things, too. I don't want to skip over this. This is very important. In that second period, McEwen's sitting in front of the net, and he puts his stick down to block a cross-crease pass, and then from there, the Flyers have a nice breakout and move out in transition, and it's like not only is the fourth line down low and cycling the puck and finding guys in the slot and having some scoring chances, they're also doing the little things in the defensive zone, which that's where it all begins. If you're not going to buy into that zone, which did not happen at all last season, you're going to be miserable. You're going to see so many grade A scoring chances wide open with the goaltender left out to dry in Carter Hart. These are the little details where your top guys and your last line is consistently doing it. Yeah, that results in winning hockey. That's why you're seeing a lot of games won, and it looked completely different from last season. Excellent pinch by Braun, which I alluded to a little bit before. Clayton Keller in transition during a Flyers change. Couturier had a turnover from the neutral zone, trying to enter the offensive zone. Can't happen, not a recipe for success. The Flyers did score. Cam Atkinson, greasy area, cleaning up the garbage, I think would be a perfect way to technically describe what happened. Brassard's battling down the right side of the net. Covered. The puck was covered with the glove. His skate seemed to knock it out, and the referees originally called a goal on the ice, which, Okay, where I have the issue, because when you look at the replay, and a couple guys came, Atkinson mentioned it after the game during the press conference, AV did as well, which was they got the right call, which is very fair. I think that is a fair statement to say. I have no issue with that not being a call throughout a game, but where I have the problem is the way that they overturned it and they got together and said, yeah, you know what, we probably should have blown the whistle, even though we didn't blow the whistle, so we're just going to call it a no goal anyway. I hated their action to get to the right solution, which maybe that's a flaw on my part to be that upset about it, because at the end of the day, I want the game to be called the right way, and that's the most important thing. But ultimately, I don't know how you can gather around together as a unit and say, yeah, we're just going to change it because we should have called. I mean, really? Is that allowed? Or do they go back to the booth and allow maybe the NHL to look at things? Crazy the way that it handled. I thought there was a turning point, though, because after that moment is where I thought the Flyers got better and they made that push at the end of the second period where Ristolainen is all the way down at the goal line trying to get creative down low, banging in second chances as hard as he possibly could. Couldn't find the back of the net. No way the twine was moving, but it's just hysterical to see your 6'5 defenseman, 6'4 defenseman making plays down low. In the third period, he was trying to go backhand shelf, but he missed the net. So they had layers to their attempts for sure tonight, as I alluded to with Travis Sanheim and now Ristolainen and those players. But that's where the game shifted. And I talked about that fourth line making some noise. Aube-Kubel 3-on-1 shot it right in the glove. Here's why I look at that and I go, okay, it's your fourth line. They're not accustomed to scoring. That's not their job. If they can, that's phenomenal, but that's not what they're out there to do. And in a game that was 0-0 at the time, after a Flyers goal was just taken off the board, wouldn't I at least want my fourth line? If they have a rush, a shot is better than the alternative, which could be a disaster and no goal, or no shot, I should say. So I would, okay, fine, I get it. It's your bottom half of your forwards. Get a shot on that, and let's just see, hope and pray maybe it squeaks through or something along those lines. But just a little bit later, when the Flyers get a power play, Cam Atkinson hits the post. You have Keith Yandel with an awful drop pass when he's entering the zone with some numbers. And that's the difference. Try to get too cute, try to get too fancy, instead of Pepper and the netminder just throwing biscuits on net in a very close game. You know, maybe look far, Pat. I mean, there's ways to do it where you're not just putting it right into the breadbasket or getting zero rush from it. Go far pad. Walk into the zone, skate in a little bit. Maybe a far pad clap bomb on net. And speaking of clap bombs, I'm loving everything from Claude Giroux when he's just throwing pucks on. I mean, he's putting, it's just the eye test here. Just looking at the eye test, the velocities on the clapper, the velocity on the clapper, and the intensity of it, and how much he's shooting to score with it instead of just throwing on that. And there's a difference, right? Let's not get too far here, where I mentioned Keith Yandel entering the zone on a power play. Maybe you set it up. He doesn't have to be looking far pad, but there's a difference between Keith Yandel and Nicolas Aube-Kubel getting pucks on net compared to Claude Giroux on the power play, who hits the crossbar, letting it fly. Put his entire body into it. It just looks stronger and looks as if there's a set of eyes when he's releasing the shot, more so than just taking a shot. And I'll value that a lot more when it comes to one of your best goal scorers, one of your best playmakers, your captain. Let it fly, baby. PP1, Provorov up top, Cam Atkinson joining the mix. They moved the puck well, I thought. The second unit had a rougher day at the office. That first power play unit, though, I think that there's some legitimacy to that. It just takes some time. Couple posts. Flyers got lucky with a couple posts as well, though. End of the first period, things got sloppy, and I mean very, very sloppy. Carter Hart making saves. Phil Kessel robbing him. As he's moving to his right, he made a couple really strong saves going that way and making sure he was square and coming out of the net to, take away angles as much as possible in that moment. I love the fact that he's playing with that confidence right now. And you can say both goalies, really. Martin Jones as well. limited action, and I don't know if that's going to hold up over an 82-game season. I would love for it to be, and maybe there's a correlation between the D-core and the way that they're playing right now. And I haven't really mentioned Ryan Ellis to this point. I'm very disappointed. It's nobody's fault, obviously. It's not as if anybody wants it to be this way. They did not anticipate it being this brutal and this bad, and he even went on the road trip for Western Canada because they assumed that he would be ready to play in that action, and clearly he wasn't. So, I'm just disappointed because he was such a big acquisition, and he's so important to who this D-core's identity really is. And the power play, you lose so much throughout your lineup, and I'm proud that they have guys to plug and play right now, but that was such a big piece that I was so happy to watch. And then you can see Ivan Provorov form into this cool, unique player that is so... he's got such a pop to his game. It's different, though, based on who he plays with, and we've seen it with Matt Niskanen. I think it can correlate to a similar style with Ryan Ellis. And with Justin Braun, yeah, it's still strong. I'm not trying to take anything away from that. There's another layer, though, that is even implemented even more when you play with a different D partner than Justin Braun, even though I'm thrilled with who Justin Braun has been so far in the early stages, for sure. Third period, you ready for this? Win a period, win a game. Travis Konecny skates down the wall, throws a little marinara to Shayne Couturier. One touch, bang. Fly guys are up 1-0. Claude Giroux gets the apple, as well as he's producing in the neutral zone to even give Travis Konecny that opportunity to skate down the wall that way. What a filthy pass for sure. And Ghost takes a penalty, ironically enough. In that third, right after that goal, let's get some separation. Let's get some insurance. They do fail. Lindblom again on the doorstep, which was just crazy to me. He seriously was in so many great spots, and you would just imagine the more and more you put yourself there, the more and more that keeps happening. Eventually, it's going to crack, and then from there, that line, the floodgates just open, and they're a crucial part. They're playing smooth, though. You got a lot of these lines creating who they are. Keep in mind, Kevin Hayes is going to return at some point, and that's just another layer of depth and a great player that you're missing. So you're missing Ellis, you're missing Kevin Hayes. Just think about what that means when they do return and they are healthy. They're good. They are a good hockey team right now. They're not perfect, and they still won't even be perfect with these two acquisitions returning to the lineup eventually. But I'm just trying to put it in perspective of, how we feel about them right now. And Farabee, Atkinson, Derek Brassard. I know their goal got removed off the scoreboard, but that's gritty work. That's hard work down low. That's never giving up. That's the toughness. I talk about attitude, edge. They have this style to them, not just the line. I'm talking about the team. They have this emotion when they play, and they're tough. They're a tough team. You go, damn, man, I got to go up against this line right now. They don't give up. You needed a goal. Was I ever afraid of losing this? Maybe a little bit through the first two periods. Yeah, I mean, you thought the gap was off where Arizona did have some chances. Phil Kessel's name, his body was out there a few times. I had a little check mark, put him down in my notes a few times he was listed. Clayton Keller had the one on the bad change by the Flyers. And the second period for a while now has been problematic, whether it's against Vancouver. I mean, you can go through all these games. The second period is clearly one of their weaker ones. It got tighter, and I'm saying that in a good way. They got more structured back half of that second period. So it wasn't the worst they've had this year. It's something that needs to change, though. With Nick Sirianni and the Eagles, they were problematic with penalties, and we say, okay, let's see if that can be fixed. Can that be fixed? Well, something that could be fixed with the Flyers is second periods, and oh, by the way, penalties. Let's keep the correlation here. Penalties with the Flyers, you're doomed if you're giving the other team a man advantage nonstop. If you're getting rid of your own flow offensively because you're consistently 5-on-4 and it's hard to gain any mojo at all when that's the case. How much of this, though, is Arizona being Arizona? You don't take as many penalties because, well, you're winning your battles because the opponent is not good. You're in the corner, you're stick lifting, or Ristolainen's banging bodies at the blue line, stepping up, throwing a hit. Well, it's a lot easier to not make those type of mistakes when the other side is the other side. But they did. I mean, the first couple of periods, they did. I'm not going to act as if, Coyotes couldn't have squeaked one or two in, and this is a totally different hockey game. But that's where Carter Hart deserves a lot of credit. And that's where this team, when they dig deep, they had to dig deep. They're not all going to be pretty. You just had a dud in Calgary. And after 0-8-1, at some point, whether you like it or not, Arizona's going to win a game. The Coyotes will win. And I was a little afraid this morning on Coffee with Brodes. We did discuss it. What do you think? Shayne Gostisbehere, 1-0. We're just joking around, right? Shayne Gostisbehere scores the game-winning goal and they win 1-0 or something along those lines. I said, well, look, I hate to be that guy and just play the numbers game, but if we're being honest with ourselves, if we're playing the numbers game, they will win eventually. Is tonight the night? You're coming back from Western Canada. You had a hiccup in Calgary. Just no real emotion in that one at all. Chalk it up to one of those nights. I thought Carter played very well in Calgary as well. He did. Just one of those nights where the offense couldn't get going. It was tough. It was. And, well, the box. The box, too. Just in general. You give Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, who turned it around a little bit for himself there. He was in a little bit of a rut. He snapped out of it against the Fly Guys. You get Sean Monahan and Matthew Tkachuk and these players. A lot of chances, and just chances in general, it'll come back to bite you. Got to be smarter as a team, and we'll see if they can continue off of the penalties and if they can build off the second half of that second period when they face the Pittsburgh Penguins in Pittsburgh on Thursday night. All right, we're going to take a couple anytime hotline calls, but before we do, football fans, who's ready to score some free bets? Now you can when you bet on any NFL game this week with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers who bet just $1 on either team to score can win $100 in free bets. When a team scores, you score. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get skin in the game with new same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRODES. Bet just $1 on either team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code BRODES this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And I know I've been bad as of late when I talk about recording while having my office TV on. Normally, I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb. I put it off to the side, and that's exactly what's happening right now. It's on Do Not Disturb. It's off to the side. But with the World Series on tonight, I know it's a blowout. It's Game 6. It's 7-0 Atlanta. Bottom of the ninth. They're about to win it. It's one of those moments that I just can't miss out on. So here I am. I know it's going to happen here. They're going to end up winning the damn World Series, and I'll be on here, so maybe I get distracted. And I hate doing that. That's not my lifestyle. There's been a handful of moments, though, throughout the last couple of weeks where it's happened, and I'm upset with myself. But I do feel that this is a little bit warranted, considering, you're talking about hoisting the championship and hoisting the trophy. But anyway, let's get to the Anytime Hotline and hear from you. Here we go.
Well, that game was a lot closer than I thought it was, a lot closer than my liking, but hey, a win is a win. But at the same time, you really shouldn't have to rely on your goaltender to stand on his head in order to beat the Arizona Coyotes. I mean, for the majority of this game, we made them look like the 90s, 2000s Devils with Brodeur and Stevens out there. But hey, you just got to get this offense back to where it was at the start of the season. Because guess what? You got the Penguins, and guess what? Crosby's back. And you know that he's done to us in the past. So we got to be ready for that. And hopefully this offense gets back on track to what it was at the start of the season.
Yeah, their offense definitely was fantastic, and they generated so much. And I thought they generated a lot of those chances today. If Oscar Lindblom scores early instead of hitting the skate blade, maybe this is a totally different outcome. And the Flyers just felt some, I don't know, maybe they were smelling some blood if that was the case. And obviously it's hypothetical, and we don't really know how that impacts everything. There's so much hockey left. Maybe that was just it for the Flyers. They didn't score again until the third period, and it played out in a very similar way. I can't rule that off of the table, but I just wonder, they were scoring at such a crazy clip. Is that really who they are, or is it somewhere in between that and obviously what we saw in Calgary, or what we saw tonight is more in the middle? But they did have those chances, and sometimes they score on those. Claude Giroux hitting crossbar on the power play with the one-timer. We've seen him blast blast cannons all throughout the start of the season. If that went another way, would we be talking about the scoring the same way? So I'm kind of looking at it from both angles, honestly. One, do they score that much over 82? Is that part of their identity? Which maybe. I think they're deep. Your third line is Lindblom, JVR, and Lawton. And they were buzzing nonstop, and they have been playing well. I know I was harsh on them earlier. Maybe I was a little too extreme, but I didn't love it throughout certain particular spots of the start of the season. Now they're one of my favorite lines. It has shifted very quickly for me, and the fact that that's your third line, that's deep as hell. So is that them who score all these goals as a team, as a four, and your defense adding points as well? Or maybe it makes sense that they're cooling off a bit because that was a lot. I know Cam Atkinson is a known goal scorer. Is he back to 40? Is that the level of Cam Atkinson over 82? Or is this a hot surge like JVR started the season off last year and then fell into reality a little bit because that was an aggressively hot stick? And I'm not trying to talk negative about the team. I'm just trying to figure out fully. I think we're starting to get a sense of who the Flyers are going to be this year. But I still have some question marks, and I'm not saying because I question them, just because it's hard. It's hard to score a lot of goals. It's hard to keep this up. I thought it was funny. I was listening to Overdrive today, which is a show in Toronto. It's pretty much their major show, and they were talking about American Thanksgiving. And one, I just think it's funny to hear it called that way, but they said when you get to American Thanksgiving, which is what, the last week of November or something along those lines, and it made me chuckle because to us, it's obviously our lifestyle, and to other people in another country, it's, oh yeah, what is that thing again that somewhat happens to be on November or in November on the last Thursday? And anyway, I'm watching the Braves. They just ended up winning the World Series. This is ridiculous. Look at Freddie Freeman running around. I'm so jealous. Freddie Freeman's the man. I mean, you just can't hate Freddie Freeman. So here I am just pissed off but happy because it's such a cool moment, and damn it, that is so sick. That is so sick. That is so damn sick. I'm so jealous. Damn, I'm so jealous. Maybe the Flyers could win the Lord Stanley Cup at one point. I'm going to try and remember where I was at before I was distracted. But that forward group, they can score some goals. Yeah, something along the lines of that. That's where I was at. All right, let's take the next call here. I apologize.
So is it safe to say Carter Hart is back? Is it okay that we can stop worrying about him? Because this is a game that usually this team would lose, at least last year. And he saved them tonight. He saved them from absolute embarrassment. This had Sabres last year written all over it, and he saved them. I mean, I've just been so impressed by him so far this year. It's early, but I feel like we can stop worrying about it now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think right now there should be any worry with him. I've seen him play like this more than I've seen him play like last season, which would make me feel comfortable stating that I truly believe this is the version of Carter Hart that you can get consistently as he continues to grow, more so than the bad version that we saw last season. Now, throughout the first two calls here, I do get this tone of, this was embarrassing and just because of Carter Hart, and obviously he was such a massive piece and he did make a lot of great saves, but I do think that there's some downplaying involved in when they needed to dig deep, they dug deep. And yes, the first 1 3/4 periods or so, and I hate saying it that way, it just doesn't even sound natural coming out of my mouth because it's not natural whatsoever. But you would think I'd be able to somehow twist it to make a little bit more sense than whatever the hell just vomited out of my mouth maybe about 10 seconds ago or so. After that Cam Atkinson goal that was taken off, they were good. They were good. They were good. Fourth line was good. Travis Konechny to Sean Couturier after Claude Giroux set it up in the neutral zone, that was very good. Ristolainen stood out to me offensively late. He was trying to get you a bingo, and he was doing it in creative ways. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not telling you it was perfect by any means, but I do need to give more credit. This wasn't, while Carter Hart is the number one star, him and Sean Couturier were very noticeable, extremely solid. he was clearly the number one star. But this wasn't just a pure steal show, right? I mean, this wasn't just like you walk away saying you had zero business of winning this hockey game. The only reason why you won was just because of Carter Hart. I've seen more a crazier steal of a game than this. I need to give credit to these players that played in front of him also, and that's not knocking him. He's my number one star. Him and Shayne Couturier, 1 and 2. No doubt about it. I think that's clear as hell. But to me, it wasn't just he stole it. It was a lot more than that. As there's a huge, I have to stop. Freddie Freeman, big smile on his face. Look at this big smile on his face. Come on, he can't even believe it. The guy's a World Series champion. Freddie Freeman. This guy's a legend. I'm sorry.
That was a tough one tonight. I mean, the Flyers had to rally late to grab those 2 points, give the Coyotes goaltender credit for keeping him in it, but the Flyers were able to put a third period together and eke out a win. And that's a good sign when you don't play your best and you can still get 2 points. The second periods and the struggles continue again tonight. That's something that does need to be addressed and addressed pretty quickly. You just can't be a 2-period hockey game or hockey team continuing to take second periods off. And I also think we can't underestimate the loss of Ryan Ellis. The ability to get the puck out of your zone quickly to create offense, his ability to quarterback the power play, get shots through to the net for rebound opportunities. I really think his presence not being there is starting to show up.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. As great as Justin Braun has been to this point, it is not looking down upon him to say that Ryan Ellis, you named it all, right? And there's even more that you didn't even name, and not because there's anything wrong with that. That was a fantastic call. But I'm just saying, like, he does so much. He is a pure number one defenseman that could quarterback the power play, help out in transition, good gap control on odd man rushes, and plays the puck very well. All of it. He does. He can play all over the ice and do all the basic things. Block shots, get in lanes, clear the puck. It's great. Put pucks on net, find certain angles. Very smart player. And that just reminded me of when Nick Seeler went full RB mode if you're playing Shell on Xbox or PS5, and you just spread all the way out on your stomach to break up a 2-on-1. So you had a little bit of that at a Sealer. But those type of players over a longer period of time, Justin Braun playing top minutes, Nick Seeler in the lineup consistently, the more and more they see time, with all due respect, you fall back to your mean. So I don't know how you can keep this up forever. You might be able to get away with it against certain teams. But what happens when you play the Washington Capitals on Saturday night? You maybe could play Pittsburgh and be fine. You have the not the Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto Maple Leafs next Wednesday. You have to go to Carolina and play the Carolina Hurricanes. My guy Tony D going to Carolina and making some noise, getting some points out there. I'm super proud of him. Just playing fantastic hockey. I checked the box score. Bang, Tony D'Angelo. So pumped for him after everything he's been through. My point, though, is guess what? It's going to get harder and harder. More miles on the tires. The adrenaline rush of the season starts to fade, so your body feels it. Your body after 20 games compared to 8 games, compared to 9 games once you get to 30 games. Now, I don't know how long Ryan Ellis is going to be out for, but we do know it's not pleasant to this point because it's deeper than whatever they thought it once was, and that stings. So keep your head above water. They've been doing more than just that. I guess the common theme, though, while I don't want this to be negative, is do they fall back to the average, or is this who they are? And over that same 20, 25 game sample size, we'll learn that. But I do know this team's good. Regardless, they're good. It's just how good. Are they great? Are they very good? Are they good? Are they above average? Where are they? They're a lot of fun. That's for damn sure. Cam Atkinson, there's passion when he's out there on the ice with that line. Derek Brassard, Joel Farabee. There's buzz when your fourth line's out there. And they're not only doing simple things in the D zone to break up. First off, you're where you need to be in front of the net, making sure no one slides behind you or getting back door. And then when you are there, you're blocking the pass, going out in transition. You got to be bought in every single zone. Things to clean up for sure. Great start to the season, though, and I'm pumped. And with that being said, before I let you go, do you want to get an advantage over your sportsbook? Download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year. Their model covers everything: spreads, over-unders, and player props. Their sharp data so you can see who the pros are backing. Line movements so you can jump on betting opportunities in real time. You can save all your picks in one place to track your success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now to download BetQL. Enter the discount code BRODES at payment checkout for 25% off any of their subscription offerings. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and I will see you next time.